wing, so I might not have an opportunity to play that many minutes. Not saying that Cleveland isn't either. Cleveland has a lot of young talent that can play. That it's going to be hard to break a rotation, but I thought there was more of an opportunity to play more minutes and to give more value to the court. And they also were a lot more interested. They were very aggressive when the buyout happened of calling, being in tune, and making sure seeing what's going on. That just let me know how interested they were, and they also interested. About 2 years ago before I signed back with Philly. So they've been interested for a while now, and it was time. It was time to get this thing right and come to some type of agreement and figure out how to make it work, because both sides were interested. And before I signed back with Philly, this is before they even emerged as a playoff team or a good team. And I didn't think they were that close, and they made it happen. They turned around really quickly, and they should have been a playoff team. Last year I guess they got kind of jerked with the buy-in or the play-in. They had a lot of injuries and things like that. But they have a good group. They have all-star players with Jared Allen and Garland and obviously Donovan Mitchell. So good core, and then Karis LeVert coming off the bench. Isaac Okoro, very good long defensive wing. So they got a lot of good pieces. Cedi Osman, Wade, obviously veteran Kevin Love, Robin Lopez. There's so many pieces here that I thought I can fit in with and also help not just play with, but help teach and learn the tricks of the trade and the craftsmanship of what it takes to help them, surprise some teams in the East.
Yeah, for sure. When we looked at the situation, I think one of the chief things was definitely the fact that they were interested in you back in that summer of 2020? 2021, excuse me. Or 2020 was it? Yeah, 2020 summer. Yeah. After you had won the top after, yeah. Was it 20? I'm sorry. Was it 2020 or 2021?
When we won the bubble, it was 2020. We won in 2020, the bubble of October. We finished in the bubble.
But then you got traded. So then you got traded.
Yeah,
so it's 2020. So it's 2021.
What happened?
When you were up for a new contract in Philly.
So I was in Philly. I got traded for 1 year in Philly. We started in December that year, and we did end of that summer of 2021. And that's when I was able to re-sign back for 2 more years after that year. Yes, 2021.
Okay. Jed, we might have to do a little edit there, FYI. All right, cool. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so when we were going back and you and I were discussing the merits of all of the teams that you could potentially end up with, the fact that Cleveland was trying to get you on their roster from 2021, I think stood out, as you just alluded to both of us. If they already can have a vision for you and how you fit, especially for a team, you're going to have to get there and get acclimated quickly if you want to be an impact player for the playoffs. So going there and them already having a vision for you from dating back from a couple of years, I think that truly helps you in this situation now. And now as you look at the court, I do think, as we look at, let's say if we were comparing the Celtics, and obviously Celtics would have been a great option too. I think they have a lot of shooters there. And obviously they have elite wings in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I've been watching the Cavs all year, and I watched them here Monday night take on the Spurs. And it's going to be interesting to see how teams, even though Isaac Okoro recently has been shooting the 3 well, it's going to be interesting to see how teams respect him, or if they do respect him in the playoffs. And I think that's something that I saw in the quick time in Memphis, and something that's been throughout the course of your career. Just the threat of your 3-point shooting allows other guys to be successful. So I think Cleveland is going to bank on even just you as a threat out there to make things easier for their primary scorers, on top of some of the defensive abilities that you have. But watching Okoro here, looks like he's had a pretty good year so far, and he's hitting a decent percentage here from 3. Just a matter of if him or other guys on the team that are not Mitchell, that are not Garland, if defenses will respect them to the 3-point line, even if they can obviously hit the 3. And I'm sure you've been through that before. There's guys who can hit 3s, and there's guys who get respected from 3s. They're 2 different categories.
For sure. And they're playing well, they're shooting well. And I hope to continue that and be a part of that. But teams are still going to guard them a certain way, right? And that still clogs up the paint if they're not known as a shooter, even though they are capable. Teams will shift, teams will still pack the paint, and it's harder for Donovan and Darius to get into those driving lanes. But as long as they continue to keep shooting confidently, I think they'll keep winning games. But in the playoffs, the game slows down a little bit. The game's a little more intense. If you've never experienced it before, these guys are younger. It's harder to shoot in those type of atmospheres. It's harder, especially on the road. So that's why I'm here to help not just bring in shooting, but help build encouragement, positivity, and that mental toughness and strength to be able to play in that type of atmosphere and be prepared and be ready for it. And then where teams will have to respect you. If you just shoot like that for 2 games in a playoff series, you have to do at least consecutive 2 or 3 games for teams to be like, all right, we're not going to leave this guy. We're not going to pack the paint. We're not going to shift off them. And then it's pick your poison. So now you gotta let Darius and then Donovan work.
Yeah.